Hello there, my name is Beth Gath and I'm the Media Literacy Coordinator here at the Peabody Public Library. And first off, I want to congratulate you on taking the first steps to better educate yourself on your iPad or iPhone that you may have. Or maybe you're just wanting some information to find out if the iPad or the iPhone is something that you actually want to purchase. So congratulations to you on that. I also want to let you know that this class is geared to go at your pace, which means that you can go as fast as you want, slow as you want, minimize, come back to, pause this, however you want to do it. You are in control of how you take this class. And also, if you're a part of the Computer Class Pass incentive program, you're definitely going to want to be listening for your secret code that's in this class. Get that to me somehow, either by coming in, calling me, emailing me, however, so I can get you jotted down and get you credit for taking the class. That way you can be on your way to some pretty nice prizes that are available to you being a part of that incentive program. So without further ado, I want to welcome you to the iPad and iPhone Basics. The first thing that we need to understand about the iPad and the iPhone is definitely our options. And throughout this course, it's primarily geared towards your iPad, but all your iPhone is a mini iPad that allows you to have some type of a phone carrier so that you can make those calls. Now, your iPad, if you get a application or an app that allows calling, you can get those through the Wi-Fi. So you would also be able to call off of your iPad, and obviously you wouldn't want to put it up to your ear. You would have to use some kind of earphones or headset or something that has the microphone so you could talk through it. But an iPad could very well be talked with as well as an iPhone. iPhones are a lot smaller. They're going to fit in our bags a little bit easier, and they're going to be easier to travel with. So primarily the differences between an iPad and an iPhone, probably depending on the version that you have, that the iPhone is already equipped to be able to make those phone calls. You don't have to have anything special to do that. And of course the screen is a lot smaller and things like that. But the iPad, you can make calls over Wi-Fi as long as you have the right app and the earphones. So don't get discouraged if you have an iPad and you want to be able to make calls. Get with me and I can help you to understand that. But you also need to understand some of your options that involve this stuff. So like kind of what model is right for you. If you're still not sure what model you want, take some time to think about the features that are most important to you and how they fit into your budget. Things to consider before you buy include internet access. Do you want a cellular data plan or just Wi-Fi? Data storage, do you need a lot or just a little? And remember that internet access, all iPad models have two connectivity options. The standard is a Wi-Fi model and the Wi-Fi plus cellular model. The Wi-Fi models are cheaper, but you'll only be able to access the internet when connected to a Wi-Fi network. For example, you'd be able to do that at home or at work, your local coffee shop, things like that. Whereas if you have the Wi-Fi plus cellular models, this gives you internet access almost anywhere. But you'll also be required to purchase a mobile data plan from a wireless provider such as AT&T, Sprint, T-Mobile, Verizon Wireless, which usually costs about $20 a month depending on how many gigs you want of data and how long you want to be able to use your device. Now, talking about that, your data storage, there are several different ways to approach storing data on your iPad, and I'm going to tell you about a few of them before you make a decision. At 16 gigs, the smallest model has enough storage for most users. However, if you anticipate storing lots of music, movies, TV shows on your device, you may want to purchase a 32 or a 64 gig hard drive. It's just more storage. If you truly need lots of storage, look into the Apple's iCloud service before you purchase one or more of the expensive models, because iCloud gives you free, unlimited cloud storage for media you've purchased from the iTunes Store, such as music, movies, TV shows. iTunes Match also allows you to share music you've purchased elsewhere on the iCloud for $24.99 per month. But it gets a little complicated when we start talking about iPad or the iCloud and syncing things and things to that effect. So I wanted you to have a better understanding of some of the options that are available to you for the iPad And even with the iPhone, you have that same thing. You can get the standard at 16 gig. Some of them even come at 8 gig. But if you think you're going to be taking lots of pictures on that phone, or you're going to use it primarily as an iPod, then you might want to think about getting a 32 or a 64 gig. If you have any questions about this, please get in contact with me. I would love to sit down with you and talk more about this. I have an iPad here at the library that you're more than welcome to use coming to meet with me. So definitely want you to understand your options when it comes to the iPad and the iPhone. We are now going to get started with the iPad or the iPhone, and some things that I want to let you know about when it involves the iPad or the iPhone is just making sure that you get what you want out of the iPad or the iPhone that you're using. Whether it's an iPad mini, or you have a regular iPad, whether you've just gotten the new iPhone 6 or you've got an iPhone 5, maybe you still have a 4, nothing wrong with any of that. You just definitely want to make sure that you understand. So the next few slides that we're going to go over are going to talk more about getting to know your iPad or your iPhone. I want to talk to you briefly about iTunes and making sure that you understand what iTunes is. iTunes is a media organizer. It organizes your audiobooks, your regular books, your games, your mobile applications, your movies, your music, your ringtones, your TV shows, your voice memos. It just organizes everything into different libraries. Now, in order to get iTunes, you would need to get on the internet and download iTunes. It's a free download to you. It doesn't cost you anything to download it. And once you plug in your device, it's going to automatically detect your device, and it's probably going to show you the device as well. But I wanted you to learn some of the basics when it comes to it. The basics for iTunes are very important. It's kind of a how-to guide in helping you. So once you get the software installed, you're going to want to create an account, which you should already have if you have that iDevice already set up. So besides working with your iPod or iPhone or iPad, iTunes has a powerful feature as a music library. You can learn how to add songs, burn CDs, and things along those lines when it comes to the music that you have. You also have playlists and sharing that you can get into, and that's part of the fun of iTunes, is creating those playlists, sharing music with friends and family, and discovering new music with the iTunes Genius. You'll also have backing up and transferring. One area in which iTunes is pretty complicated in transferring is one iTunes library to a new computer, or restoring a library from backup after a crash. This gets especially complex when iPads or iPods and iPhones are involved. So you just want to be careful with that kind of stuff. But you can use the iTunes for your iPod, your iPad, your iPhone. But it's just to basically manage all of your items and organize it for you. iTunes is also called your App Store, and that is actually an app that you have on your iDevice, and it runs off of the most current iOS system, so it knows exactly what you're doing. So that App Store where you get those apps is definitely going to be helpful for you. It enables the iCloud as well and the iTunes Match. So I definitely want to encourage you to get on iTunes and just kind of explore around and see all the different items that it has for you. It also stores other digital music for you that you can put on there. And then, of course, iTunes for parents. There are probably no gadgets hotter than today's preteens, teens, and young adults with the iPod, iPad, and the iPhone. Some parents may have some concerns about what their kids can access on their devices, so you can go in there and set up some of those tools. And of course, it has some troubleshooting help for you, just to kind of get you around. So again, if you have any questions about iTunes, or you want some more information on how to use iTunes, please get in contact with me. I'd be more than happy to assist you with that. But at this time, I'd like for you to go ahead and just get yourself on the internet and get connected to iTunes, because that is kind of your media store, or your media organizer, if you will. And we can see here on this picture that it even shows in the devices. I don't know who Corey is, but this is going off of Corey's iPad, and it shows anything that he's purchased in the store, any tones or anything like that he has put on there. So definitely explore around with iTunes. It's a major part of you having your iDevice. Once you have an iPad, your next step should be learning about the physical features of the device and the accessories that come with it, or an iPhone, either one. This includes the different buttons and ports, how to turn the device on and off, how to charge the battery, and the importance of protecting the screen. So note that the iPad featured that I'm getting ready to show you is actually an iPad 2. It has a front and a back camera, so you'll definitely want to compare those different models before you purchase what you want. Typically your device comes standard with some accessories, and with the iPad it currently comes with the USB cable. This is for connecting to your computer, as well as the power adapter. You're going to get that power adapter for charging the battery, your documentation that comes with it, and if you're getting an iPhone, and possibly some of the iPads may even come with earphones, some earbuds. So here I've got a little diagram of the different buttons and ports that are available, and we can see that the front of my iPad 2, and that's what this is, has a front camera and a home button, as well as the multi-touch screen. So I'm able to push on my items. The back of my iPad has the sleep-wake button. This allows me to not drain out that battery when I'm not using my iPad. I can just push that and it puts it in the sleep mode for me. Also has a microphone, so I'm able to speak into it, or if I'm recording videos. It has a head jack, so I'm able to put my earbuds in. You have a back camera. There's a side switch, and that side switch lets the iPad know whether you want it to vibrate or if you actually want some sound. You have your volume buttons, which are up and down, and the speaker, and of course the dock connector. So if you have the latest version of the iPad, the dock connector will be slightly smaller than the one that I am showing you here. The new connector is known as a lightning connector, and you'll use a lightning cable to charge your iPad or your iPhone, or to connect to your computer. So you'll have a different cord if you have a newer version of the iPad or the iPhone. So the first time you turn on the iPad, you're going to be asked to choose a few different settings, and that's what we're going to talk about in the next few slides. Are our settings. Some of them we can skip over, some of them we cannot. So we just want to make sure. Now let's go back to the sleep and the wake. I want to make sure you understand that button. When you're ready to use the iPad or the iPhone, you'll need to wake it. To do this, you press the sleep wake button or the home button. The lock screen will appear, and we're going to talk about that in the next slide. And you'll just simply unlock it. When you're done using the iPad, you press the sleep wake button to put it back into sleep mode, and this will turn off the screen to help save on your battery life. So in the next slide, you are going to see what that slide motion actually looks like. So again, here is a picture of the slide to unlock, which is your home screen. So when you are powering your device on and off, most of the time you won't need to turn off your iPad. You can just use the sleep wake button to keep your iPad in the sleep mode. But if you need to turn it off completely, for example on an airplane, press and hold the sleep wake button for several seconds, and then the slide to power off will appear. To turn the iPad on, you press the sleep and hold button, sleep and wake button, and the Apple logo will appear. It may take a few minutes to turn it on completely, so definitely want to keep that in mind when you are ready to get going on that device. Also, I've got a picture here of charging your device. The battery on your device should last for about 10 hours of normal use. When it's low, you'll need to charge it. There are two ways to charge the battery. You can connect your iPad to your computer with the included USB cable. Just plug one end into that dock connector and the other into the USB port, and you're on your way, and I have a picture there for you. Or you can charge the iPad anywhere where the power adapter, which is that picture. To use it, you just plug the adapter into the power outlet, and then you connect the iPad using that USB port cable. So there you go. There's two different ways that you can actually charge your device, as well as turning it on and on. You definitely want to look into some of that care and protection on your device, because these are expensive items. We don't want them to get, we definitely don't want anything to ever happen to them, but we want to know how we can take care of our device. Some other accessories you might want to think about is getting a case or a cover for the iPad, which are sold separately. If you don't have one yet, now is the time to be looking for something that fits your style, budget, and your personal needs. The Apple Store has several options to choose from, including the popular Smart Cover. The Smart Cover was designed specifically for the iPad and can be used as a stand. If you're not interested in a smart cover or any of the cases in the Apple Store, don't worry. You can find hundreds of alternatives in your search online or in retail stores. No matter what you choose, a good case or cover will go a long way toward protecting your device so you can enjoy it for years to come. You should also make sure that you have a soft, lint-free cloth for wiping fingerprints and smudges off the screen. Never use household cleaners, alcohol, or other abrasives. So, taking care of your item is very important. Screen protectors on your iPhones and iPads, very important. Having a case for them, that is just going to help you when you drop them or something along those lines, because sometimes we can't prevent that. So you just want to make sure that you're taking really good care of your item. It's expensive, and we wouldn't want anything to happen to it. This slide is a pretty busy slide, and I'm hopefully that we can kind of follow along pretty well. Again, this goes along with getting to know your iPad. The first thing that we want to know how to do is actually connect ourselves to Wi-Fi, because that's going to, that's the important thing about the iPad, is being able to have internet access wherever we go. So you'll need to connect your iPad to the internet and basically to be able to use most of the iPad features. It's easy to turn your iPad's wireless connection on or off and join nearby networks so you can access the internet. Once you join a network, your device will connect to it automatically whenever it's in range. If there are no networks in range, it will connect via 3G or 4G instead, but only if you have a 3G or 4G enabled device and a contract and a wireless provider. And that's what I was talking about earlier. You can just buy the iPad to come as Wi-Fi only, or you can buy the iPad as Wi-Fi plus a cellular network. This way, if you don't have Wi-Fi everywhere you go, you would still be able to connect to the internet using that cellular service. Now, iPhones are already built to have that cellular service available in the calling capacity. So if you have a phone provider, more than likely you probably have some kind of data that goes along with that. So that is what's nice about the iPhone, is that it's kind of built in. So when we're turning on our Wi-Fi, we do it the same way, whether it's an iPad or an iPhone. You would go to, and that's the very first picture there to the left, I have a little arrow pointing to the settings. You would tap on the settings icon on the home screen. The settings will appear, and then you would tap Wi-Fi in the left pane, and you can see that to the picture to the right, and there's a box around where it says Wi-Fi. Next to Wi-Fi, you would tap the control to turn it on, and that's that little slider. It looks green right now. And then it's going to start looking for networks once it turns itself on. So to join a network that's in range, for example, your home's Wi-Fi or a nearby public hotspot, look for it under Choose a Network. Then tap the network you want to use. If the network is secure, you'll find you'll need to enter a password in order to connect to it. If the network isn't secure, you can connect to it without a password, but think carefully before you do, especially if it's in a public hotspot like Wi-Fi at your local coffee shop. Anything you view or share over an unsecure network is not necessarily safe from prying eyes. So just keep that in mind and be careful. If the network doesn't appear on the list, it may be out of range or it may be closed, in other words, hidden. To join a closed network, tap Other, and then follow the steps to connect it. You'll need to know the name of the network, the security setting, and the password to be able to do that. So this is all about your Wi-Fi and how you can get yourself connected to that Wi-Fi. If you've already turned on your iPad or your iPhone, you know that you need an Apple ID as part of the setup process. But what else will it do? So in short, an Apple ID is a simple username and a password. It doesn't cost any money to create one, but it's a very important part of the iPad and the iPhone experience. Not only is it your identity on your device, but it is also your gateway to other Apple services like the App Store, iCloud, select built-in apps, and much more. The more you use your iPad or iPhone, the more you'll understand how prevalent the iPad ID is. If you don't have an Apple ID yet, there will be plenty of opportunities for you to create one when you set up your device. You can also sign up online. So to learn more about that, you could just type in creating an Apple ID into your search engine. So yeah, upon setup, you were asked to create an Apple ID with a password. You want to make sure that you keep that going. That way you can get the most current apps. This was all about getting yourself set up on Wi-Fi. So if you need any further assistance or any more help with getting your iPad or your iPhone device connected to Wi-Fi or creating some kind of an Apple ID, please get in contact with me. I'd be more than happy to schedule you an appointment so we can sit down together and do that.
So now I want to talk to you about the getting to know the iOS 7 interface. You're probably up to the iOS 8 now, and we're going to talk about that in the next slide. But I want you to be familiar with the interface of your iPad or your iPhone in general. So here I've got some shiny little glowing dots, and we're just going to kind of go through those together so you have a better understanding of what your interface looks like and what it can actually do for you. So we would start up here in the corner, and I'm going to click on this. This is your status bar at the top of the screen. It displays your current information about your iPad or your iPhone. This includes from left to right the status of your internet connection, the time, and the remaining battery life that you might have. So that's that entire bar at the top. So we can see that it says iPad, we've got our Wi-Fi on, tells us our time in the center, and then our battery life off to the right. So that is your status bar. This one here is where you can get your notifications, and in the next part you're going to see a video that's going to talk about the iOS 7 and how you can get those notifications. To view your notifications, you would pull or swipe down from the top of your screen. Just take your finger and swipe it down, and a window will show your reminders, your unread emails, or any other activity on your iPad or your iPhone that you want or that you need to know. So you can go to the source of the notification by just tapping on that particular source. So that's how you can get to your notifications. The next one are your apps, and that's what all of these are. They're called apps, and we're going to be talking about apps here in a little bit. But the icons you see here are shortcuts to your apps. In this example, the icons represent some of the built-in apps. That's what came with the iOS system. It automatically came on your iPad, and you didn't have to put them on there. If you choose to download more apps, the icons will appear here also. To open an app, you simply just tap on the app you want. So you would just go to the app and you would actually click it, and then it would open up. If you would go to the App Store and download, you would have an app that looked like this affiliated to whatever you downloaded. This section here is your home screen, the whole thing. This screen here is called the home screen. However, it may help to think of it similar to your computer's desktop. It's where all of your apps are kept, and it's the first thing you see when you turn on your device. So whether you're working with an iPad or an iPhone, it doesn't matter. It's going to be the first thing that you see that pops up, and this is your home screen. You can even have multiple home screens to make room for more apps and to organize the icons. To navigate between the screens, you would just take your finger and swipe left and right to get you back. And we can see here, down here, it just kind of shows us we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different screens on here, and to get to those, it tells us here that we would just swipe to the left and back to the right. This is your docking area. The dock at the bottom of the screen is designed for your most frequent used apps by default. It automatically includes Safari, your mail, your photos, and music. You can customize your dock by adding or removing icons, so you always have access to your favorites. So that is one thing you can do. And by adding, what you would do is you would just literally grab a hold of whatever it is, left click on it, and just drag it down there. And this is your control center. and it shows you there. And just like you did the notifications by swiping down, to get your control center you would swipe up, and the control center allows you to quickly access frequently used settings for your device. You swipe up from the bottom of the screen to adjust the screen brightness. You can turn your Wi-Fi on and off, open the camera. You've got your Bluetooth, you've got your airplane mode, the night mode. You can also lock the screen from here. You can get to your pictures a little bit easier, and your volume settings and things along those lines. So I wanted you to be familiar with the interface of the iOS 7 system, so that way you have a little bit better understanding. The next slide, you're going to actually see a video that shows you a little bit more in depth of what I'm talking about as far as the iOS 7 interface goes, and then we're going to talk about the iOS 8 and some frequently asked questions about that. So enjoy the video.
Goodwill Community Foundation, creating opportunities for a better life.
Whether you're new to the iPad or you just need a refresher, learning how to navigate iOS is a great place to start. In this video, I'm going to show you some of the basics, including how to operate your device using multi-touch gestures. Let's begin with the home screen, which is the screen you see here. It includes shortcuts to all of your apps and several different screens to help you stay organized. You can navigate between them using the swipe gesture. There's also the dock at the bottom and the status bar at the top. Here you can swipe down to view your notifications. Notifications can alert you to many different things on your device, including new messages, emails, reminders, and more. To open a notification, tap the one you want. You'll be taken straight to the source, in this case, the Calendar app. From here, it's easy to return home using the Home button on the outside of your device. Keep this button in mind because you're going to use it pretty frequently. After all, the home screen is sort of like the desktop on your home computer. To open any app, all you have to do is tap the icon. Why don't we try Safari? There's much more to iOS than simple taps and swipes, though. Here are some other gestures you can try to get the most out of the iPad's powerful touchscreen. Double tap to zoom in or out in some applications. In other apps, you may find it easier to use the pinch gesture. If you pinch with 4 or 5 fingers instead, you'll get a different result. Try this gesture for quickly returning to the home screen without having to press the home button. To access the multitasking bar, swipe upward, again with 4 or 5 fingers, whichever feels more comfortable. Here you can quickly navigate to any of your most recent apps. Finally, to switch between recent apps without having to use the multitasking bar, swipe left or right using 4 or 5 fingers. Let's go back to the home screen. There are certain settings that you might want easy access to while using your device, for example Bluetooth or Wi-Fi. You'll find these things in the Control Center. Just swipe up from the bottom of the home screen. Here you can adjust your screen brightness, turn on airplane mode, and even set your device to Do Not Disturb. This will temporarily silence any calls or alerts you receive. To close the Control Center, swipe down again. The last thing I'd like to show you is how to use the search feature. This feature is great for finding apps, media, and other items on your device that you're having trouble locating. All you have to do is swipe down anywhere in the middle of the home screen. Now type what you're looking for using the on-screen keyboard. The keyboard appears anytime you're in a text field. It's even sensitive to what you might be typing, and sometimes offers shortcuts. For example, a key that inserts .com if you're typing a web address. To minimize the keyboard, just tap the key in the bottom right corner. Now we can see the full list of search results. To navigate to the item you're looking for, tap it on the list. That covers the basics of iOS for the iPad. Now that you know your way around, you can start using your device and taking advantage of everything it has to offer.
In this section, we are going to be talking about some frequently asked questions when it comes to the iOS 8 newest system that we've had our iPad, whether you have an iPad 2 or 3 or an iPad mini, you've had to update yours to the iOS 8.0 or 8.0.2. If you have an iPhone 4S, 5C, 5S, or iPhone 6 or 6 Plus, you've also had to update to the most current iOS, which is 8. So on September 17th of 2014, Apple released iOS 8. So I'm going to talk about briefly what it is, how much it costs, how do I get it if you don't have it yet, and things to that effect. So iOS 8 is the newest version of the mobile operating system for Apple devices, including the iPhone, iPad, and iPod Touch. iOS 8 contains a number of new features that will make your device easier to use. So how much does it cost? It doesn't cost you anything. It's completely free to download like all previous versions of iOS would be. How do you get it? If you buy a new iOS device, an iOS 8 will come pre-installed, so you won't have to do anything to install it. But if you have an existing iOS device, you can download and install the iOS 8 just by going to your settings, selecting General, and then tapping on Software Update. And from there you would be able to get into where the update is and what's new. Each version of the iOS usually introduces a lot of new features, and iOS 8 is no exception. There are some important changes and features in iOS 8. The handoff, if you have a Mac, this feature allows you to seamlessly move between using your iPhone and your computer. So for example, you could start writing an email on your phone and then finish it later on your computer. That's if you have a Mac. Note that handoff will also require the latest version of OS X for the Mac. So the OS X Yosemite, which is expected to be released later this fall. So you will need to do that to make it compatible. You also have a quick type and third-party keyboard. Typing a lot of text on a mobile device can be tedious. The new quick type feature will guess what you're most likely to write next when you're sending a message or email to allow you to choose from a few different options. You can also be able to use new custom keyboards from third-party developers. So what devices use iOS 8? The iPhone 6 and the iPhone 6 Plus, your iPhone 5S, iPhone 5C, iPhone 5, iPhone 4S, your iPad Air, iPad with Retina display, iPad mini, iPad 2, and your iPod Touch, the 5th generation. iOS 8 is not available for the iPhone 4, the iPhone 3GS, or the original iPad released in 2010, or any previous generations of the iPod Touch. If you see one of these devices, you'll still be able to use your existing version of the iOS system. Keep in mind, however, that your device may suffer performance issues if you download apps from the App Store designed for the iOS 8. So you want to make sure that when you're downloading the apps, whether you're downloading it for the iPad or you're downloading it for your iPhone, that it's compatible with the software that you already have on your phone. So the big question about the iOS 8 is, am I required to upgrade it? Which is not necessarily required. They do recommend that you upgrade your device to the iOS 8 if possible. This will help you keep your phone or your iPad up to date and working with newer apps. If you don't upgrade, will you still be able to download newer apps? Yes, but some of the apps may not always work correctly. If you don't upgrade to the iOS 8, you may want to research how well an app will work on your device before downloading or updating it. Even if an app has always worked perfectly on your device, there is a chance that the newer version may only run smoothly on the iOS 8 system. You may want to avoid updating your favorite apps unless you are sure that they will work with your device's operating system. Once you update an app, you won't be able to go back to the older version. So keep that in mind when you get that going. Another question is, will my app still be there after the upgrade? And yes, any app you previously had installed on your phone or your iPad will still be there once you upgrade to the iOS 8. Some built-in Apple apps like Messages and Calendars will be updated automatically when you upgrade that system. Will my app still work after I upgrade? Almost all apps installed on the iOS 7 should work correctly on the iOS 8. If not, the app developer will likely release an update to address any issues in the future that you may have. So I really hope that you got a lot out of the video that you saw in regards to the notifications and things along those lines, so you have a better understanding of the interface or the display of what your iPad or your iPhone looks like. So this is the most current information about the iOS 8 that we know up to date, and now you know a little bit more about iOS 7. So now you understand the operating systems a little bit better on your iDevices. Here is a better look at the control center that you're able to get by just swiping from the bottom of your device, whether it's an iPhone or an iPad, it doesn't matter. You just swipe it from the bottom. And here's where you're going to be able to have that volume control. You use this option to adjust the speaker or the headphone volume, depending on what you're using. You've got your airplane mode. This allows you to toggle the option to activate in airplane mode, which will turn off the Wi-Fi and the 3G and 4G. So that way you aren't using unnecessary data, if you will, on your device when you're in airplane mode. The Wi-Fi, which is next there, you can toggle this option to turn Wi-Fi connectivity on and off, basically being able to turn it on and off your Wi-Fi. The Do Not Disturb is an option. You can limit notifications during certain hours, so you could turn that on. The rotation lock, use this option if you don't want the screen to change orientation when rotating the iPad. So you'll notice that when you rotate your iPad, the screen kind of rotates with you. You can set that up so it doesn't do that. And then, of course, your screen brightness, which adjusts the screen of the way it's displayed on your device. So I just wanted you to have a better look at the control center and what all of them do. One thing we didn't talk about, right underneath where it says control, volume control, that is for if you're playing a video or something like that. You've got the play, fast forward, and rewind. And then off to the right, you do have that camera option that you can get into and things to that effect. So at this time, I'd really like it if you would go ahead and get into your iPad, get yourself familiar with most of the stuff that we've talked about up to this point. That would be your control center, your notifications, being able to turn it on and off your device, the Wi-Fi, things like that. Get yourself, and don't be afraid to push buttons. There's no reason to be afraid to push buttons. That's the only way that you're going to learn how to use this device the proper way. Siri is a wonderful feature that the iInstitute or the iDevices have. Siri is a useful feature that comes with the most recent versions of the iPad, but not the iPad 2 or earlier. So if you have an iPad 3 or an iPad mini, then you have Siri on there. If you have those iPhones I was talking about earlier, then you should have Siri on those as well. It's also sometimes referred to as a virtual assistant. It can help you with all kinds of things. For example, you can use Siri to send messages, schedule meetings, and search for nearby restaurants, powered by the sound of your voice rather than gestures or your keyboard. Siri can understand and respond to complex requests like, remind me that I have a doctor's appointment on the 18th, or what's the weather like today? So you would do that by voice dictation, and we're going to talk about that in the next slide. In order to get to Siri, the best way to do it is on your home button, which we've talked about already. You just double click on your home button and Siri pops right up. And then you would be able to ask Siri whatever it is you want to know or whatever it is you're looking for. And you can just talk back and forth with Siri. So why don't you right now go ahead and get on your iDevice and double click that home screen or the home button that you've got and get Siri going and just ask some random questions to Siri to get some kind of information. We're going to talk about voice dictation next, but just kind of get yourself familiar with Siri. This is all about the voice dictation, and this allows you to enter text without having to use the keyboard. To use voice dictation, tap the microphone icon on your keyboard, then start talking. The iPad will listen to what you say and try to transcribe it. You can even add punctuation by saying words like period or question mark when you reach the end of a sentence. When you're done, tap the microphone again and the words will be converted into text. So that is a really cool feature that it offers to you is voice dictation. You can also set it up to read your messages to you, so or your emails. And if you have any questions about how to do that, you can go ahead and get with me. We may actually touch base on that at some point throughout this class. But the voice dictation is amazing, makes things a lot easier for you. If you have a problem getting that little keyboard to do what you want it to do with your fingers, you can just say whatever command it is that you want, and it will take you right. It'll type that up right for you, and you can even set it up where it will speak your messages and so forth for you. So this was all about voice dictation. So go ahead right now and act like you're going to send a message to somebody, whether you're on Facebook or you're using your iPhone and you've got messaging through your cellular device. Just push on that microphone and just kind of play around with the voice dictation. In this section, I'm going to talk to you about sharing and syncing. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about this because it can get really, really deep. So if you want more information on how to use your iCloud, what it is, how you can manage your apps through it, please get with me, and I would love to sit down and have a one-on-one appointment with you to go over the iCloud information. We aren't going to touch much on that right now. This is just about getting the basics of how to use your device. Upon setting it up, iCloud was an option for you to set up. If you did, then you know that you have 5 extra gigs of storage you can use, or maybe you even upgraded more than that. But if you didn't, then get with me and I can assist you with that. But right now we're going to talk about sharing and syncing. And sharing is also a big part of using the iPad. In fact, to help you stay connected, Apple has created a feature called the share button that can be found in many different apps. Just tap the share button at any time you see it, and you can see here in this picture, that's what the orange square is around, that little box with an arrow coming out of it. That is your share button, and it allows you to gain access to a variety of options. You can share photos, videos, and much more across a variety of networks, including email, instant messaging, Twitter, and Facebook. You can even print photos or documents if you have a wireless printer in your home or office, and it has to be an AirPrint printer. So you want to make sure, and Hewlett-Packard makes great ones, just to let you know. And then syncing those makes it easy to keep things up to date between your computer, your iPad, your iPhone, all of your mobile devices that might be iDevices. That way you'll always have access to important files on any device, no matter what you're doing, whenever you need them. There are 2 ways to sync an iPad. You can sync it with iTunes by, you can connect your iPad to your computer using the USB cable that you get with it, and then you can use iTunes to sync music, photos, and files from your computer to the iPad. You'll also be able to back up your iPad files onto your computer. Now, I am going to briefly talk about syncing with iCloud. You can sync wirelessly to iCloud, which will work in the background to sync important information between your mobile devices. For example, you could take a photo on your iPad, then view it instantly on your laptop, or you could create a to-do list on your work computer and then keep it up with your iPad. So they just kind of share with each other, they sync together. And so forth and so on. So if you want to know some more information about syncing and sharing, just get with me. I want to make sure that you have a good understanding about the syncing and sharing process.
Now I want to talk to you about using the keyboard. So the best way to access your keyboard, the iPad's virtual keyboard will appear whenever you tap on a text field. So if, for example, the keyboard will appear when you're composing an email, if you're writing a note, entering in a website, anything that requires you to type. If you push on that item, it's going to automatically come up. So I want to go through that a little bit with you here with the keyboard, and I have an example of a keyboard, and here's our glowy little gold dots like we saw before. Into the keyboard features. So I want you to have a better understanding of what you're going to be doing. So the first one I'm going to click on here, the cursor, and that's right here. You can see it there. This indicates where the text will appear. So you can clearly see that it's right here. The next one we come to is the backspace key to erase the character to the left of the cursor. You can press and hold the backspace key to delete entire words. So if you just keep it pushed down, it's just going to delete everything in its path, or you can just tap, 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 and it'll do one at a time. So that's good to know. These are your letter keys. This is the main part of the keyboard, which includes the letter keys and the space bar, and you can tap these keys to add the desired text. So it's just like typing is what it's saying. The shift key allows you to, you just tap the shift key and then you tap a letter to insert a capital letter or an alternate character. Double tap the shift key twice and it turns into a caps lock. So you can play around with your keyboard features. That's kind of nice. And then down here, this is your number keys and special characters. You can tap here to switch the keyboard from letters to numbers and special characters. Tap the button again to switch it back. It will also switch back when you add a space after a character. You can also tap those symbols buttons to access more special characters, and they have it orange blocked in so you can see that. So if you're not seeing your percentage on there, if you click on that number plus equal sign button, you're going to get more special characters, and that percentage is in there as well. This is your space bar. You tap the space bar to add a space. You can also double tap the space bar at the end of a sentence to automatically add a period. So if you didn't know that, that's kind of handy little thing to know. And this is your hide keyboard. Click here to hide the keyboard. You can click any text field to make the keyboard appear. So the iPad will offer suggestions for certain words as you type. So when typing, simply tap the space bar to use the suggestion. In the example, you would want to change certain words, like if you just started typing agreement and it was A-G-R-E-E-M, more than likely it's going to pop up the rest of the word. So then you could just push on that. The iPad or iPhone automatically does an autocorrection. This will correct commonly misspelled words for words like if you're trying to spell the, T-H-E, and it comes out T-E-H, it will automatically correct that for you. While it's a powerful feature, autocorrection isn't perfect, and because it happens automatically, you may not always notice when something is changed. You should always review your text to make sure it's correct before you actually send any kind of a message or anything out. And you've got your spell check. In addition to autocorrection, the iPad will note spelling errors as you type. Any misspelled words will be underlined in red to visibly suggest that you need to replace it with some other type of word. Moving the cursor, sometimes you may find that you want to edit something at the beginning of a sentence or a paragraph. Rather than deleting the existing text and starting over, you can move the cursor to the desired location. To move the cursor, you simply tap the desired location. If you need more control, press and hold the screen. Then, without removing your finger, drag the magnifying glass to choose a location for the cursor. So you're going to put your finger down on the text, and if you keep it pushed down there, a little magnifying glass is going to pull up. Leave your finger there, and you can just drag it across, and it'll take it right there. To copy and paste text, if you want to move text from one location to another, you can copy and paste it. This is especially helpful if you want to move text between different apps. So for example, you might find some useful information in Safari and then come copy and paste it into your notes. You would first need to select the text you wish to copy, double tap the screen next to it, and so forth and so on. And I do believe that we're going to be getting more into that as class goes on, but I wanted to just kind of brief us a little bit on it. The next few slides are going to go a little bit deeper in there, and it's actually going to show you what exactly it is I'm talking about. But I hope you have a better understanding of the keyboard and what each of the functions of the keyboard are.
I know on the last slide I talked about all of the features in this slide, but I wanted to make sure that you completely understood what I was talking about when I was talking about those keyboard features. So for instance, if we start in the upper left hand corner, we have what's called the suggestions, And this happens whenever you begin to type a word in. Then, as you can see there, they started to type in agreement, and it automatically finds what they're looking for, and then you could just click on that. And so it's kind of like an autofill where it'll just kind of complete it for you to make it a little bit easier. And then your auto correction, which is that second picture there, to the right, it just corrects those words. So for instance, I had already spoke about how you could correct the from TEH to the. Again, that kind of goes along with the autofill, which is or the suggestions. Autocorrection is very similar to that. And then of course you've got spell check, where if you have a spelling error, it'll automatically detect that spelling error, and we can see in picture 3 here that the word needs is or reads is highlighted in a red, letting us know that that requires some type of attention, and then it automatically will bring up some suggestions for us, and then we're able to choose which one we are looking for. So the last picture there, the fourth one, talks about moving the cursor, and this is what we talked about in the last slide, but I wanted you to see exactly what it does. Just by putting your finger in the area that you're wanting to correct and leaving it there, it automatically pulls up that little magnifying glass, and as long as you keep your finger on the iPad or the iPhone and you're not lifting it up, you can move it back and forth, and you can put that cursor exactly where you want it. So why don't you right now go ahead and just kind of pause this video, get into your iPad, and try some of these different keyboard features that are available to you. Try typing in something and letting it automatically suggest words for you. Try typing in something incorrectly and see if you get those autocorrections up. Again, try that misspelling a word so it can detect that spell check and correct it for you. And then attempt to do the moving of the cursor. Don't be afraid. This is what it's all about, is touching everything about your iPad. It's a touchable device. That's why they've created it this way, or your iPhone. So don't be afraid to do things and try things, because you can't mess anything up. I know we all think that we can, but you can't. So don't worry about messing anything up right now. Just worry about learning how to use your device. In this section, I want to talk to you about copying and pasting text in your iPad or your iPhone. If you want to move text from one location to another, you can copy and paste it. This is especially helpful if you want to move text between 2 different apps. For example, you might find some useful information in Safari and then copy and paste it into your Notes app. So first you'll want to select the text that you wish to copy, and we can see that in the first picture there. You're going to double tap on the screen next to the text you wish to select, and then drag the blue selection handles to select that text. So we see those little circles, those blue circles on that handle that goes all the way across. And that allows you to use your fingers, and you can put them right on top of those little blue circles, and you can drag it across. Menu options will appear above the selected text, including cut, copy, and paste. And we're going to tap copy. So go ahead and get your desired area that you want highlighted. Let's say you're in Safari and you're looking up some information and you want to learn how to copy and paste that information. You would just lay your finger on top of the area that you're wanting to copy, and you're going to actually see that blue box appear, and you can stretch it out by using those little circles in the corners. They're called the handles, and you can pull it out as far as you need to, and then you're going to push copy. Once you do that, then you're going to double tap the desired location for the text. So let's say you want to put that information in your Notes app. Then you would go to your Notes app, and then you would either double tap or just push down on the iPad, and you'll get more selections to come up. And one of those selections is going to be paste. You'll also probably get select or select all, but in this situation, we want to paste, and then your copied text will appear exactly where you put it. So this is how you copy and paste text from one location to another using your iPad or your iPhone. And again, it's just pressing down on the area that you want to copy, and getting that menu to pop up above it and being able to move that handle to make it a very long blue stretched area, and that handle will go as far as you want it to go. So don't be afraid of that. Make sure that you're getting in there and doing what you need to be doing to get it going for yourself. So if you're having any problems with copy and paste with text, please get with me. I would love to assist you on how to get this done. I do schedule those one-on-one appointments, and they're free to you, so definitely take advantage of that. But right now, let's go ahead and minimize or pause this video and get on your iPad or your iPhone and just try copying and pasting some text. Get yourself familiar with that great feature that is offered to you. If you're a part of the Computer Class Pass, your secret code is I'm loving my iDevice. Give me that secret code so I can get you marked down for taking a class and being on your way for some great, fabulous prizes.
Now we're going to go through getting to know Safari a little bit. And Safari is a web browser that comes built into your iPad or your iPhone. You'll use it to access websites on your device. Safari's interface is similar to those you might find on your desktop web browser, and it also has a few unique features to make mobile browsing a little bit easier for you. So, if you're not familiar with the icon, then I have a picture of it posted for you here on this slide as well, so you can see what that icon looks like. But we're going to just kind of go through these gold tabs that we're used to going through here. So we're going to just start over here. And this is your navigation buttons. You use the back and forward buttons to navigate between pages you've recently listed. So you would use this one and this one to get you back and forth. This here is your share button. Use the share button to create a bookmark. You save the page to your reading list and more. You can even email the link to your friends or share it on Twitter or Facebook. So that is your sharing. And here is your reader. The reader feature allows you to view web articles in a large, easy to read format, free of any ads or clutter, which is very nice. So you can see here that they have a little example, this 7-minute research-based workout exercise, your whole body, and it talks about the whole thing. So it's basically got it all listed out for you, and you've even got some links that they've added here that you can actually follow and go to. This is your address bar, and it displays the URL, which is your www dot whatever, for the current page. So to navigate to a new page, you enter a new address. You can also use the bar to search the web. So that is what this is for. And going a little bit further, this is your bookmarks and your reading lists shared sites. You can tap here to see your bookmarks, shared websites, and reading list. If you don't have an internet connection, you can still read websites that you've added to your reading list. So that is kind of nice, and you can see that they're broke up for you as your reading list here and things like that. So this is a great feature to have. It's kind of like your favorites. This is your iCloud tab. You tap the iCloud button to access any sites you've left open in Safari on another device, including your iPhone, iPod Touch, and your Mac. So you can see there anything that you've opened in iCloud, you can push on that and you'll be able to get to it or remove it. The new tab button. This tab here is to create a new tab. When you create a new tab, the favorites page will appear, which includes shortcuts to your most frequently visited websites, and you can tap on a website to navigate to that page or enter a URL into the address bar as normal. So you can see how that works for you. So this is just kind of familiarizing yourself with Safari a little bit. Safari also includes several features that make browsing the web easy, and we're going to actually go into those features in the next slide. But I wanted to do, we missed one here, didn't we? This one's your tabs, each one of these, and Safari allows you to browse and open links in separate tabs, which can make it easier to multitask. So to navigate to a different tab, tap the one you want. To close a tab, you just tap the X, and that's what this is here, is your little X. And to access it, you would just push on it. So. All right, well, why don't you right now get yourself familiar with Safari. Look for that icon that I have pictured there for you, and just kind of get yourself going on Safari. You can't mess anything up, once again, so do not be afraid to touch anything and get yourself into the internet.
In this section, we're going to talk about some of those features that Safari has to offer to you. And one of those is opening a link in a new tab. So definitely getting yourself familiar. If you find a link to a website, you can open that link in a new tab. This allows you to open the site without losing your place on the original page. To open a link in a new tab, and that's going to be that very first picture there in the upper left hand, you would want to tap and hold the link and then select Open in New Tab. So kind of like what we did earlier with moving our cursor around and things like that, you would just press down with your finger onto your iPad or your iPhone until you actually got one of these options, and you can click on Open in a New Tab. So again, to open a link in a new tab, tap and hold the link, then select Open in New Tab. So go ahead right now and give that a try before we move on here. Pause or go away from this video, get your iPad or your iPhone out, and kind of get yourself familiar with that. And then you've got adding sites to your home screen. If you find that you frequently visit the same website again and again, you might want to add the site as a bookmark. But if you want even faster access, you can add an icon to a website onto your home screen. Just tap the share button, which we learned about a little while ago. Select Add to Home Screen and then click Add. So here in the right side, it says Adding Sites to Home Screen. Right above it, you would just push on that share. Once you get that, then you have those other options and you can add it to your home screen. So that is another thing. Don't forget you do have that multi-touch zoom. So sometimes it can be difficult to read web pages in Safari. Luckily, there's two ways to zoom in and out using multi-touch gestures. So the first one is to double tap on the screen. This gesture will zoom in the area of the screen you tap, which is especially helpful for reading small texts. Double tap again to zoom out. So just double and it zooms in, and double and it zooms back out. And you have your pinch the screen, which this gesture allows you to zoom in and out, offering more control over how large or small the page appears. So you would just take your thumb and your index finger, place it on your screen, and then just pinch out and pinch in, and it zooms it in and out. So don't forget about your multi-touch zoom features that you do have available to you. Once you actually do get that added to your home screen there in that second picture, then the bottom picture just shows you that once you do that, it adds it automatically to your screen there. So I didn't want you to be confused of what that was trying to show you. So in this now, we've learned a lot more about Safari and what it can do for us and what we can do in it. And we've learned some zooming in and out, which are called your multi-touch gestures that allow you to get those things open, or rather bigger and smaller. So go ahead right now and just kind of work with opening a new link in a tab, adding a site to your home screen, and try the pinch zoom and the tap zoom. The next few slides, we're going to be talking about apps, which are your applications. So a little bit about apps and making sure you understand. Even if you're new to the iPad or the iPhone, you've probably heard of apps before. The concept is simple. Apps are programs that are designed to run on your device. The iPad or iPhone comes with a number of built-in apps that you can access immediately from the home screen. They're a great place to start for new users because there's nothing to download or install. Many of these apps are ready to use right out of the box, like the camera app, which for example, while others require a little more setup, like Mail and Contacts. We'll take a look at some of the built-in apps later, but right now I want to talk to you about just installing the app. So once you've explored the apps that came with your device, you might want to try downloading some more from the App Store. There are thousands of apps that you can download for free, and many other apps cost as little as 99 cents, although some may be a little bit more expensive than that. So let's talk a little bit about those apps and installing them. The App Store gives you access to hundreds of thousands of apps. You'll find everything from games to entertainment to productivity tools, even apps that can help you with common tasks like studying for an exam, cooking dinner, or keeping track of travel plans. There are thousands of apps you can download for free. Many other apps cost as little as 99 cents, like I said before, although some may be more expensive. If you're not sure which apps to try first, the App Store can help by giving you recommendations or showing you the most popular with other iPad users or iPhone users. So if you're new to the App Store, the first thing you need to know is that you do have to have an Apple ID and a valid credit card to purchase apps from the App Store, even including those free apps. So when you go in to create your Apple ID, if you don't have a credit card in there, it's not going to let you download anything as far as apps go. If you're new to the App Store, Apple has organized some of the most useful and popular apps for new iPad or iPhone users in one place. Open the App Store, scroll down to Quick Links, and tap New to App Store. And you can see that here in the picture on the left-hand side. That is what the actual App Store kind of looks like. And that upper right-hand picture lets you go in and explore a little bit more. A list of popular apps will appear when you push on that New to the App Store. Each app will note its price or it will say free. Simply tap on an app to learn more about it. The app page will appear with information about how apps work, user reviews, screenshots, and more. So down below you can see the apps, the games. There's another picture there underneath. And this has become more familiar with the App Store. You may be interested in some of the apps that are listed there, Facebook, YouTube, things along those lines. So if you're not real good with the apps and you're kind of wondering about how to do it, my recommendation would be to go to the App Store. You probably already created yourself an Apple ID when you started up your device or got it going, setting it up. But if you haven't, go ahead and get in there and try to get yourself one created. Not sure how, it's not working for you. It's okay, get with me and we can sit down together and do that. Something else that you want to know about the apps, you can multitask. You may be used to using several programs at the same time on your computer, which is also known as multitasking. On the iPad or iPhone, multitasking works a bit differently. Although you can't use several apps at the same time, you can easily switch between apps without going to the home screen. For example, you might be browsing the web in Safari and then decide to send a message through the Mail app. To make multitasking as seamless as possible, your iPad or iPhone will keep recent apps paused in the background. When you switch to a recent app, you won't have to wait for it to load. You can simply pick up where you left off. So we aren't going to get a whole lot into switching between your apps, but there is a process. And I think I'm going to go ahead and make that our next slide. So the next slide is going to be switching between our apps and how we can close those apps. Switching between apps and closing them is a pretty important feature, so I didn't want to leave this out of the class. And it's also good for the multitasking. So sometimes you may want to quickly switch between apps without returning to the home screen. For example, you might be browsing in the web in Safari and decide to message through your Mail app. So you would quickly press the home button 2 times. So that normal button you're used to getting back to the home screen, if you push that twice, it's going to turn out to look like that picture to the far right. That's a little bit higher. You can swipe left or right to browse through the current apps. Simply tap on an app to open it. So that is how you switch between the apps. You can search for them, double click on your home screen. It pulls up all the apps that are available. And then you can also get rid of them by just swiping them up and they go away. And that's what that bottom picture is showing you, is how to actually close. So when you switch to the home screen by double tapping, the app you're using doesn't actually close. It just remains paused in the background. However, if an app stops working correctly, it sometimes helps to force the app to close. This is similar to force quitting an unresponsive program on a computer that you're used to using. Keep in mind that you don't need to close apps this way unless there is a problem. Because the apps are paused, they won't slow down your iPhone or your iPad or drain the battery. Quickly press the home button 2 times. A preview of your current apps will appear, and we learned that with how to switch. Swipe up on the app, and that closes it. So you can clearly see. And then, of course, you've got your background app refresher. The iPhone and iPad also allows a feature called the background app refresh to update certain apps in the background, which can have a small effect on your battery life. If you prefer, you can turn off background app refresh for some or all of your apps. To modify these options, you would open them in Settings, tap General, and then select Background App Refresh. And that is what that small picture is to the right. So you're able to go in and take that out. To learn more about multitasking, please get with me. I would love to show you how to switch between these applications and even show you how to close them out, so that way you don't always have stuff running or what have you on your computer. So go ahead right now and just pause this video and get in there and just try switching between your apps and closing them out, and even look for that background app refresher, because that is going to help you out as well. In this section, we're going to be talking about managing your apps. The home screen contains an icon for every app on your device. This means it can get pretty crowded, especially if you've installed a lot of apps from the App Store. We're going to talk about some tips to help you customize your home screen so your favorite apps are always easy to find. First of all, you can rearrange your icons by touching and holding any app on the home screen. When the icon begins to shake, drag and drop them wherever you want, even on or off the dock, which is like your desktop or your home screen. To move an icon to another screen, drag it to the left or right edge and hold until it switches to the new screen. When you're done pressing the home button, press the home button to make the icon stop shaking. So we can see in that top left corner, they want to move their notes into another area. So they have put their finger on it, they've allowed it to shake, and you'll probably even get little X's. So you're able to close out apps if you don't want them on your home screen. And then by not moving your finger, you're just going to be able to move it right on over. If you're on the last page of apps, you can create an additional home screen by dragging an icon to the far right edge. When you're done, press the home screen. Okay, so that is how you drag apps around and move them. You just put your finger on the app that you're wanting to work with, keep it there until you see them shaken, and you'll actually on some of them see little crosses. If they were built-in apps, you wouldn't see those X's to close them out, but if it's something you've downloaded, you would. And then without moving your finger, leave it on that app, you can just drag it around and move it. Another thing I want to talk to you about is creating a folder, and that is that last picture on the top row. Creating a folder, you can do that by dragging one icon on top of another. To add more icons to the folder, just keep dragging and dropping the ones you want. This is a great way to organize similar apps and remove clutter from your home screen. When you're done, you can just press the home button. So whether you're just moving your apps around or you're creating a folder for them, you're still going to want to push that home button when you're all done so you don't have them shaking anymore and you don't see the close out type of thing. So that is how you can create folders for yourself, is just by putting your finger on that app that you're wanting to create a folder with and placing it on top of another app that's going to be in that same folder. It automatically creates that third picture there And you can even go up where it says productivity and click on that and take all those letters out and rename it. When you're done, just click on your home button and it puts it all. It fixes it the way that you have adjusted it. So the next thing we're going to talk about is the bottom left picture, and that is searching for apps. By swiping down from the middle of your screen, a search box will appear at the top of the screen. Start typing the name of the desired app. Any apps matching your search will appear, along with other files and settings on your iPad or your iPad or iPhone. So that's how you're going to search for them. Just from the middle of your screen, go ahead and once you're in on the middle of your screen, you can just tap it in there and you're going to be able to do the search. Any questions about any of this, managing your apps, please get with me so we can do it together. I don't want anybody to feel lost. The last thing, which I've already kind of mentioned, is deleting your apps. So by pressing and holding any app on the home screen, and then you're going to tap that X in the left corner that I've already talked to you about. And I've also let you know that, of course, those built-in apps cannot be deleted. When you're done, you would just press the home button. And there you go. It's all done. So that is how you manage your apps. That's moving them around, putting them in folders, and searching within your device for the apps, as well as deleting them. So go ahead right now and get yourself familiar with managing your apps. The last thing that we're going to talk about that involves apps is going to be the updates that you get, because periodically those applications that you have on there are going to want to do some changes or some tweaks or even need to be updated for bugs and fixes. So over time, many apps receive updates from the app's developer. Updates usually help an app run more smoothly and may even introduce new features. When an update is available for any of your listed apps, a notification badge will appear on the App Store icon on the home screen. So you can see that in the top left picture, how the App Store is kind of blocked in there in the orange, but you can see that it has notifications attached to it. That's letting you know that you have updates in your App Store to do that. So to update an app, you're going to want to open the App Store and then tap Updates in the bottom right. So we can see to the right there, that picture next to it shows the App Store open, and the bottom right corner and the very, very bottom of that picture is a blue updates, and by pushing that, it pulls up those updates for you. A list of available updates will appear. To update an app, tap Update. You can also tap Update All to install all available updates. So you can see there that they have the individual update, or at the very, very top, which it doesn't show you on here, you can actually update them all. So if you want to update apps automatically, which a lot of people do prefer to do, you would go into your settings from your home screen, tap on the App Store or the iTunes from your setting, and turn on those updates automatically. And that is that bottom picture showing you how to turn on those updates. Now, if you look at the far left picture, the very first picture there, we can see that our settings also has a little notification above it. That's probably going to be a software update for the entire, from Apple. So if you have a little notification in your settings that is in the corner like that, more than likely it's just letting you know that there's a software update from Apple. So that wouldn't involve your games or anything like that. That would be something completely separate. So just keep that in mind when you go to do some updates. But why don't you right now go ahead and get into your App Store, identify where your updates is, and get into your settings and see how your updates are set up. Again, if you need any assistance with this, please get with me and we can schedule an appointment to go through it together. Security and general settings are pretty important. So once you're more familiar with your iPad or your iPhone, you may want to take some time to review and customize your device's settings. Settings control everything from the way your iPad or iPhone works to the data it shares with apps and other devices. You can open settings by tapping on the icon on your home screen, and you can see that there in the top left picture. We have a picture of where the settings are. As you can see, the settings give you easy access to many different things, including settings from your apps, email accounts, and iCloud. To view or edit your options, tap an item to the left pane, and we're going to focus on the general and the privacy of it. I'm going to be talking about the general primarily, but I want you to be familiar with both and the privacy. So we're going to be talking about those. So general, from here you can set security options, download software updates, and more. From your privacy, you can manage your privacy settings. So, and we can see there's that pane. Use the left pane to access different settings. So you're going to be able to find what it is exactly that you're wanting to edit or make a little bit better for yourself. Under General, you can customize many different settings that control your iPad's security, accessibility, and overall performance. So in the next section, we're actually going to be talking about some of those privacy settings that you can put on there and things to that effect. So go ahead right now and get into your settings and get yourself familiar with the different options that you have. So now we're going to get into some of the privacy settings. By default, the iPad or iPhone doesn't require a passcode to unlock it. However, you can set one to help protect your device. Requiring a passcode will make it considerably more difficult for someone else to access your iPad or your iPhone if it's lost or stolen. So by just tapping on your settings icon on your home screen, you can go into those general settings. And we talked about that in the last slide. And then you would tap on passcode lock to view your options. And you can see that very top left picture there and how it's done. You would tap turn passcode on. Right now it's off, but you would turn it on. And use the keypad to enter a 4-digit code. You'll need to enter it twice to confirm. So that picture to the right shows you what it looks like once you actually do. You're going to type in a 4-digit code. The passcode lock will be enabled. You'll need to enter it whenever you unlock your iPad or your iPhone. It's just a security measure for you and a privacy type thing. You can also set up restrictions. Restrictions act as parental controls. You can use this feature to set a passcode that will restrict access to certain content, while a passcode lock is used to unlock the iPad or iPhone. A restriction passcode is used to open specific apps and perform certain tasks. So, for example, you can restrict explicit music, limit the ability to make in-app purchases, or withhold access to important apps. So, in your general setting where you see there to the left, you would just tap on settings and then you are in general, and one of your options is restrictions, which is kind of underneath that passcode lock that we see to the left, and by pushing that you can turn it on like you did your pass lock to enable it. And then use the keypad to enter a 4-digit restriction code. You'll need to enter it twice to confirm. Restrictions will be enabled from now on. Anyone who uses your iPad or iPhone will need to enter the passcode to access restricted content. Set the controls to green to allow apps to be used without restrictions. In the example, you can use Safari, Camera, Facebook, and iBook apps without restrictions, but you'll need to enter the passcode to open the iTunes Store, install, delete an app, or make an in-app purchase. So you can set it up differently according to how you want to. You would scroll down to access more advanced restrictions such as ratings, movies, music, and apps, and so forth. So there is a restrictions area that you can go in once you get a little bit more familiar with your device, so you're able to make those corrections. So why don't you right now go ahead and get into your settings, play around with your pass lock. Now, keep in mind that when you do that passcode lock, that you want to make sure that it's something you're going to easily remember, because once you lock it, it's locked, and I would hate for you to get locked out of your items. So if you're feeling comfortable enough to get in there and kind of explore around with the passcode, go ahead and do that. If you're not feeling that comfortable, then you can get with me and we can do it together. Or if it's just not something you're interested in, then don't worry about it at all. But if you would like at this time, go ahead and pause this and kind of get yourself familiar with that passcode lock. I briefly talked about updating your software a little bit ago, but I wanted to kind of show you what I was talking about. Software update is where you'll download the iOS updates from Apple. So if you're working with iOS 7, you may have an iOS 8 download right now. Updates frequently include bug fixes, other improvements designed to enhance your experience with the iPad or iPhone. If an update is available, tap Software Update and then tap the Install button. And you can see that that's what this picture is here. They've just gone to their settings, clicked on General, and clicked on the Software Update, which took them where they needed to be. So keep in mind that, again, with the privacy settings, third-party apps sometimes request access to your personal information. So, for example, an app might request access to your Twitter account to make it easier for you to share things with your friends. Another app might request access to contacts to help you contact with people you know. Apps will ask for permission before accessing your information for the first time. However, you can always manage these settings under privacy. So again, that is in your settings, and you can manage your privacy settings a little better. So this was all about updating your software and some of those privacy settings, and I even have the privacy settings kind of blocked for you in the orange as well, just so you can see where it is exactly that you would find that. Now we're going to talk about location services. Location services is an optional setting that uses Wi-Fi and or your cellular signal to determine your current location. Location data can be extremely useful for a variety of apps. For example, the Maps app can use this information to give you directions from your current location, while the Weather app can give you your local forecast. Location data can also be used in ways you might not expect. For example, the Camera app can use it to tag photos and videos with their exact location. This is known as geotagging. If you then post a photo publicly online, you're also sharing the location data for that photo. While it can be useful, some people may not feel comfortable sharing their location data in all these situations. Fortunately for you, you can turn it off. Location services is for individual apps or for all of your apps. So to modify these options, you would go to your privacy settings and then tap on location services. And we can see that that is where it's set up for you now, is to be able to go in and turn off the location services. Now keep in mind that when you do that, you may be steering yourself away from getting a lot of those notifications or things that you're used to getting. By turning that off, it does turn off some features for you. So if you're not having any problems with it and it doesn't seem to be bothering you too much, then I wouldn't worry too much about it. But if you're really, really set on not having people know where you are and things to that effect, then you want to go in there and turn it off. But if you're finding that some things aren't working as well as they did before, it could be just because you turned it off. So turning it back on may assist you with any of those other issues. So go ahead right now and just go in and locate where your location services are, so you're able to go in and make those corrections or not make those corrections depending upon what is useful for you. Okay, so now we're ready to have some fun and get ourselves familiar with our wallpaper and things to that effect. Customizing your wallpaper is very exciting, and it's probably one of the first things that we do besides listening to those ringtones. But you can get to these from your general settings. And remember, you can access settings by tapping the icon on the home screen. And then you would just go down to where it says wallpaper or brightness. To make your iPad or iPhone more personal, you can add your own background wallpaper. You would just tap on the settings on your home screen, tap wallpaper and brightness to the left pane, and then tap under the choose wallpaper. And that's where we are now, is that first picture to the left and that second picture to the right. And then you're going to want to tap dynamic or stills, and that's that picture underneath, to view the built-in wallpapers that came with your device, or choose a picture on your device from the albums below. In this example, we have chosen the stills as our main example. So right now with this, I just want you to get familiar of where you can locate this on your settings. So go ahead right now into your settings, find the wallpapers and brightness, and get in there and just push things. Don't be afraid, just do it. You're not going to mess anything up. We're just setting pictures. You can always go back to the default, whatever it was set at when you started it. But let's get ourselves familiar with wallpaper. Okay, that was fun, right? Being able to go in there and get yourself all set up, just like you've been doing through the settings app. Now we're going to be talking more about the wallpaper and how you can make it happen for you. So once you've determined whether it's a still or a dynamic, like we learned about in the last one, as soon as you pick it, then you're going to get a bunch of options, and that's that left picture in the upper left. You're going to tap on an image to open a full screen preview. So you could push on whichever one it is. Use the menu bar to apply the wallpaper to your lock screen, home screen, or both. So when you push on a picture, it's going to pull it forward, and then it's going to give you a couple of options. To exit the preview without changing your wallpaper, you would just tap cancel, and that takes you right back. So setting the wallpaper from the Photos app, but you can see this right-hand picture there. You can see where it says set lock screen, set home screen, or set both. You will get options of how you want to set your picture up. If you're already looking at pictures, in the Photos app, you can set any picture as the wallpaper without opening settings. Simply select the picture, tap the share button in the bottom left corner, and select use as wallpaper. And you can see that there in the bottom picture. It shows you exactly how to do that. If you're having difficulty viewing your iPad or your iPhone screen, you might want to adjust the screen brightness. So decreasing the screen brightness will also help to save battery life. From the wallpapers and brightness setting, drag the slider to increase or decrease the screen brightness. You can also change this at any time by swiping up from the top of the screen to adjust in the control center. And we learned what the control center was at the beginning of class. If you forget, you can just go back and refer to that. Auto brightness automatically adjusts the brightness for current light conditions using a built-in light sensor. Just tap the auto brightness control to turn this feature on or off. So there you go. When it comes to setting the wallpaper, it's not too terribly difficult. You can do this on your devices, no problems, and it's very easy. So go ahead right now and get yourself familiar with the wallpaper. Try adjusting your brightness a little bit, and you'll see that right away as soon as you get in there. And now we're going to be talking about sounds in the next few slides. But right now, just get yourself familiar with wallpaper. The sound settings allows you to change the sound effects for different alerts, like a new email or a calendar event, as well as your ringtone for the FaceTime app, or even your ringtone for your iPhone device. You can also adjust the volume from these sounds and enable or disable system sounds like your keyboard clicks and your lock sounds. So here is your sounds. You go into your settings. You tap settings icon on your home screen, tap sound in the left pane, and you can customize the sound setting as desired. For example, you can choose a new ringtone for your FaceTime or your iPhone, or a new alert tone for the emails. It takes some time to test different sounds and settings to find the one that's going to work best for you. You can also use your iPad's or iPhone's side switch to mute or unmute all sounds. So you have a little switch on the side that will automatically mute or unmute those items. So Sounds is very, very easy. You have tons and tons and tons of them that you can go through. So why don't you right now and get yourself familiar with your sounds. With your iPad or your iPhone, you have a standard mail app that just comes with it. And I have a picture of it there to the left of everything. There's just a little mail app. Mail is probably one of the first apps you'll want to set up on your device. You can use it to view and send emails, reply to messages, and manage your inbox. All the things you're used to doing with your email account. The first time you open the mail app, you'll need to connect it with an existing email address. So you can see that left picture there. As soon as I open it up, it gives me a bunch of different options. Select your email provider, then follow the instructions to connect your account with that mail app. When you're done, you'll be able to send and receive emails from that account on your device. So you can see there that you can do that. Adding another email account. If you use more than one email account, for example, one is for personal, one is for work, you can add multiple accounts to the mail app, allowing you to manage all of your messages in the same place. To add another email account, open Settings from the home screen, tap Mail, Contacts, Calendars in the left pane, and then select Add Account. So there you go. There's the picture to the right. We hit on Settings. You go all the way down to where it says Mail, Contacts, Calendars. Looks like those are all adjoined. Go to Add Account, and then you would follow the instructions to connect to a new account. All right. So then you want to, if you want email notifications, when you receive a new email, a badge will appear on the top on the app icon. The number indicates how many unread emails are in your box. This allows you to quickly see if you have any new messages without even opening the app. So for example, that mail app there to the left says that there's 12. Well, if I checked it yesterday and I only had 10, then I know that I can open it and I have two new emails. But if it still says 10, then nothing's changed and I don't really have to open it because I already know what's in it. You can customize your alerts by opening Settings, tapping Notification Center, and choosing Mail. Swipe gestures, which is that picture right next to the mail app that has the 12. It says reply, forward, flag, mark as unread, move to junk, move message. The mail app includes many convenient tools to manage your inbox, including folders and flags. iOS 7 also introduces a new swipe gesture, which allows you to quickly manage the messages in your inbox. Just swipe a message to the left for the option to archive, delete, reply, forward, and more. So you can see that in that picture. Just by swiping them to the left, you can get rid of them. You can also customize email signatures. By default, every mail you send will include words sent from my iPad or my iPhone at the bottom of the message. This is the default email signature for the mail app. If you'd like to customize or remove the email signature, open Settings from the home screen, tap Mail, Contacts, Calendars in the left pane, and then select Signature. And you can see that in the picture there to the right. So this is all about using your email, how to set up your email. If you're having any problems doing that, please get with me. I would love to assist you, but I recommend that you definitely give it a try just to see what you can do. If you have a Google account or a Yahoo account, it's just nice to be able to access them all at once. So go ahead and use the email app accordingly. Adding and managing contacts is probably one of the most important things that you're going to do with your iDevice. The iPad or iPhone allows you to save contact information for the people you know using the Contacts app. And I have a picture of what that app looks like here. You can use saved contact information to quickly place a FaceTime call, send an email, and more. The iPad allows you to create as many contacts as you need, so you'll always have important contact information with you. So we need to find out how we can actually add a contact. So you would tap on the contacts icon on the home page or the home screen. The contact list will appear. Tap the plus button, and you can see that there in the picture that has a little orange box around the little plus. Enter the desired contact information. At the very least, you should enter a first and last name as well as an email address. However, you can also enter other information like phone number, street address, birthday, and more. When you're finished, you would just tap done, and that would be in the upper right hand corner as well, and you can see that in that very first real picture to the left. So if you're wanting to edit the information for an existing contact, then you would select the contact and then tap edit, and we can see that in the picture to the right of the screen there. That lets you know that that information about Barry, that if we needed to edit his contact information, we could do that. Managing, so if you want to navigate your contacts, you have a lot of different people saved in your contacts list. It can be difficult to find a contact quickly. Fortunately, there are 2 easy ways to navigate your contacts. You can first go to your search, which is that picture to the bottom left. And search, you can quickly search all of your contacts by using the search bar at the top of the contacts list. Just tap the search bar and type. Any contacts matching your search will appear. You can browse by letter, and that's the picture to the right there. You can quickly browse through your contacts list by letter. Just tap the desired letter to the right of the contacts list. You can also drag your finger up or down the letters to quickly scroll through your contacts. So there you go. And of course, any of this can have some info, so you're able to go in there and edit that information that you may want to use. So this is all about adding and managing your contacts. Again, you have that swipe motion that allows you to swipe everything to the left, and then you could delete a contact as well. So why don't you right now go ahead and minimize this video and go into where your contacts are by clicking on the Contacts app, and just kind of fiddle around with your contacts, adding some, deleting some, editing some, and so forth and so on. So have fun with your contacts, because really that's what the iPad and the iPhone are all about, is communication to the outside world. So being familiar with your contacts is a great feature to have. Another great feature that the iPad or iPhone has to offer you is your calendar app, and that comes as a built-in app, and I told you that we'd be talking about some of these built-in apps later. That Contacts app is a built-in app, your Mail app is a built-in app, and now your Calendar app is a built-in app. You can use Calendar app to manage your schedule by adding meetings, appointments, and other events. It's easy to create and edit events and appointments as needed. The app comes with several helpful features, including alerts for importing events. So you can see here to the left, that very first left picture, how they've got their calendar all coordinated. But you can also set calendar alerts, and that's the picture to the right. If you want to be reminded about a certain event, you can set an event alert. For example, you could create an alert to sound 10 minutes before an event begins. To set an event alert or add other event details, tap the event, then tap edit. You can also edit these details when creating the event. So if you look over there to the right, you can clearly see that they've gone into their event, and now they're going to create an alert for it. You can also add new calendars at any point, and the bottom left picture talks about that. You may want to create separate calendars for different types of events. For example, you could create a calendar for work and one for your personal schedule. Each calendar will be assigned its own color, so you can quickly view different events at a glance. To create a new calendar, you would tap Calendars at the bottom of the screen, and then tap Edit, and then select Add Calendar. And there you go. It's all right there for you. You can also synchronize your calendars with, maybe you have a mail calendar as well. If you already have a calendar with another service, for example, Google, Yahoo, or Outlook, you can sync it with the calendar app. This allows you to view and edit all of your calendars directly from your iDevice. To add a new calendar, open Settings from the home screen, tap the Mail Contacts Calendars in the left side of the pane, and then select Add Account. Follow instructions to connect the new account. syncing calendars from other services may not work perfectly. For example, if you have multiple calendars tied to one Google account for work, school, and other activities, they may not all sync to your iDevice. If you use this feature, we recommend that you pay close attention to your calendars to make sure they're syncing correctly. You can also review anything you want to know about the Google in the additional help field. So this is just talking about how you can sync your calendars together and so forth and so on. So this is all about your calendar app and how you can get those events in there. Typically when you want to add an event to a specific time, just like you've done in the past with the other ones, you would just put your finger down on the date and time, and then a box will pop up and you can create a new event from there. So if you're having any problems using your calendar, or you just want to learn a little bit more on how to do it before you're actually doing it, you can get with me if you're not feeling real comfortable. But again, please don't get discouraged. Anything you do isn't going to mess up, so you can always remove it if you've added it. I would definitely recommend that you get in there and get yourself used to adding an event. And you can see in that very first picture to the left in the upper right hand corner, you have a plus sign. By pushing that plus sign, and I'm gonna put a box around that so you can see it, that's going to add an event to a specific date. So go ahead right now, get yourself familiar with that calendar app. Another built-in app you have is called the Reminders app. The Reminders is a simple app for managing a to-do list. You can add items to a list and check them off as they're completed. You can also use the app to create other types of checklists, such as a shopping list or a list of chores. The Reminders app includes a few different to-do lists by default, but you can create more lists as needed. So you can see in the left-hand side picture there how they've created themselves a shopping list, and they did that by just clicking on that add list that's at the bottom, and it linked them right to it. Reminder alarms: if you want to be reminded about a certain task, you can set a reminder alarm. For example, if you add a task like take out recycling, you could also create a reminder alarm for that task at a particular date and time. To set a reminder alarm or add other reminder details, tap the information button next to the desired task. And that's what that's showing you in the bottom right. That little eye with a circle around it isn't just for design. It's for more information. So that is what the Reminders app is. Get familiar with it. You can use that to do your grocery shopping, your to-do lists, and things to that effect. So go ahead right now, get familiar with your Reminder app, and I've got a picture of it there for you so you don't forget what it looks like. And that's really going to help you with some of the to-do tasks that you have. Another built-in app that you have is your messaging app. Whether you have an iPad or an iPhone, there are a little bit of differences. The iPad is connected to you from iMessages directly, unless you have a cellular plan with your iPad. More than likely, you're just going to have to use the iMessages feature, which does require Wi-Fi to use, or you can download some of those free texting apps that allow you so many minutes for free and I definitely encourage you to explore some of those as well. The Messages app can be used to send instant messages to your contacts. If your friends also use Apple devices like a Mac or an iPhone, the iMessage feature allows you to send unlimited text messages, photos, videos, and more to those users. So setting up messages, and we can see there to the top left, to use the Messenger app, you'll need to set up iCloud on your device. You can review how to do that by going to YouTube and typing in how do I set up my iCloud. I haven't talked a whole lot about iCloud within this class because that's a personal preference. Not everybody likes to use iCloud, but if you want to use iMessages, you will need to get yourself connected to iCloud. If you receive a new message when not in the Messengers app, the iPad will notify you, or iPhone, in a few different ways. By default, you should receive a banner alert at the top of the screen and a badge at the top of the app in the corner to show the number of unread messages. And that's that picture to the right showing you message notifications. That little drop down comes down, lets you know you got a message, and then it shows you a notification as well. And then you can customize your alerts by opening your settings, tapping Notification Center, and then choosing Messages. This way you can go in and customize those a little bit better for yourself. Your read receipts tell other people when you've read their message. Read receipts don't appear on your device. They appear on your friend's device instead. So your friends can see exactly when you've read their message. And you can see that in the bottom left. They sent out, and this is an incoming message read by you, and the read receipt confirms that you read it to the people that are sending the message. While many people find read receipts helpful, others may prefer not to share this information. To enable or disable read receipts on your device, open Settings, then tap Messages to the left pane. Turn read receipts on or off depending on your preference. And that picture to the right shows you exactly how to do that. So that's your messages, how you get in them, how you use them, how you send them. Again, don't get discouraged. Try playing around with some of this a little bit. And I think you'll find it very, very helpful. Okay, believe it or not, we've almost gotten through the entire class. This is our last built-in app that we're going to talk about, and actually, it's the last thing we're going to talk about when it comes to the iDevices. I want to talk to you about camera and photos. I've got the icon there so you can see it. You'll use the camera app to take photos and videos with your iDevice. It's designed to work closely with the Photos app, which lets you view, organize, and edit the media you have captured. To access the camera from the lock screen, and that's the picture to the left, the very first one. You have a little camera in the right-hand corner. You can access that quickly by just dragging the camera up, and it's showing you with that arrow. You just put your finger on it and pull it up. Zooming in and out, we've talked about the pinch gesture with your thumb and your index finger being able to pinch out those photos. However, keep in mind that the iPad uses a digital zoom instead of the optical zoom lens like you find on a larger camera. The digital zoom attempts to stimulate an optical zoom. As a result, the image quality will become lower as you zoomed in. So just kind of keep that in mind. You've got some different things you can play around with. Camera orientation. You can rotate the iPhone or the iPad to change the camera orientation from portrait to landscape, which is a nice little feature that comes standard with the camera. Flipping the camera allows you to tap the flip camera button in the top right corner to switch between the front and or the rear facing camera. You can use the front facing camera to take a photo of yourself, those great selfies that we see all the kids out there posting. You can also use the front facing camera for video conferencing apps like your FaceTime. Recording video, you can also use the camera app to record video. To do this, you would swipe to the video and then tap the record button. So you don't want to lose track on that. You can also take screenshots by pressing the home button and your sleep wait button at the same time. This will take a picture of whatever is currently displayed on your screen. So when you take a photo or a video on your iDevice, it goes straight to the Photos app. You can use photos to organize your photos, the photos to organize your photos, and the videos into albums. You can create slideshows, share your media in a variety of ways. So if you're sharing those photos, there are several different ways to share the photos from your iPad or your iDevice. For example, you can send photos as an email attachment. You can post them to Facebook. You can play them in a slideshow on your device. Simply tap the share button in the bottom left corner and select the photo you want to share, and then you choose the desired location. You can also sync photos wirelessly between devices using that iCloud photo sharing. So we didn't really talk a whole lot about the iCloud stuff, but if you want to know more about that, please get with me. We can talk a little bit more about that. But once you get in there and once you start messing around with your iPad or your iPhone or even your iPod, you're going to be able to do a lot more things with it. So don't be afraid of your device, and that I can't express that enough. Don't be afraid. Play around with it, move things around, try some of these things that we've talked about today. If you've never used your camera, try it today. You're not going to hurt anything. Try some video. Go outside and it's, I don't know what the weather is where you are, but where I am, it's not too bad today. So you could go outside and just capture some of those bird moments or whatever and play them back for yourself. If you have the option of the rear-facing camera or just a regular camera, then or the face, then you might want to take some selfies of yourself just to kind of get yourself familiar with your camera and the way to organize your photos. This is just a small little quiz to kind of refresh you over the entire class and everything that we talked about within the class. I do have the answers highlighted in red for you just so you do know what the answers are, but try to answer these without actually looking at the answers. I know it's kind of hard to do, but this is everything that we've talked about throughout the class, and I want you to be familiar with some of these areas and so forth. So go ahead right now and pause this video and just get yourself familiar with this quiz and the answers. All right, well, congratulations, you did it. Take a deep breath and relax. This class is over for you. iPads and iPhones, no more. Hopefully you have a better understanding of how to use your device. If you don't, and you still need some help, please get with me for a free one-on-one appointment. Without you, there'd be no reason for me to have any of these classes. Thank you for taking the time to watch. Thank you for taking the time just to learn your device in general and have a better understanding of all of the things that it can do for you. And of course, you can email me with any questions at bgaff@ppl.lib.in.us. And of course, please check out some of the other stream classes that are available to you at our website, which is www.ppl.lib.in.us. And just take a deep breath. You did a fantastic job. You should be very proud of yourself for taking the steps just to learn your device. I want to thank the following websites for their information and photos that were used during this class. Please keep in mind that pretty much all of the information that came from this class came from the GCFlearnfree.org. Please check it out, all information. I highly recommend that site, and it's the third one down here on the list. So also keep in mind that narration was done by Beth Gaff, and Screenomatic was used for some of the things that we used in this class. So again, none of this could have happened without these companies and all the information they were able to give to us. So thank you to them.